Today I went to the polls to vote. And instead of being able to vote where I normally vote, which is right across the street, maybe 1,000 feet, I had to get in my car and go about a mile or 2 miles down. See, the polls were separated where I had to vote into Republican and Democratic voting polling stations. It reminds me of segregation, or either which one of the political parties has the disease. I know one has a disease of power. I also know that we have a illusion of inclusion, but the delusion of participation. How did the president get into office? No matter how flawed the system is, that's how he will leave out of office unless the legal and judicial branch does its job. But normally, this is how people of power get what they want. So therefore, they're trying to control every avenue of voting. Now, I can't talk about anybody because for a while I really didn't vote. But as I got older, I understood the sacrifices people made, and also I just changed. Now, I can't tell anybody what to do, but I can tell you that they don't want to see you at the polls. This is why they're doing what they're doing. Now, frankly, I went to the polls and I was embarrassed to even say I was a Democrat. But I was proud to go vote for Jasmine Crockett. And maybe one or two other people on there that I really didn't know. Because, see, it's just like anything else. If you don't make any noise, nobody can hear you. Now, I don't want to go into all of this, what democracy is. I did that yesterday and everything else. But I will tell you this. Citizens who use the mechanisms available to them, voting, civic engagement, to compel people in office to be accountable to their constituents, is something that I would like to see. But we'll see, when participation weakens, democracy does not collapse abruptly. It arose gradually under the appearance of normal administration. You see, those who hold political power have long understood that elections are shaped not only by persuasion, lying, and showmanship, but by structure. Decisions about polling place locations, accessibility, procedural complexity, and the timing of changes may appear bureaucratic, yet they directly affect who participates and at what cost. And let me give you an example. Now, where I was before voting, I was able to walk to the polling place. Or now I have to get in my car and drive. And I'm lucky that that polling place was just maybe a mile or two up the street. But what about the elderly? What about the people that don't have transportation? What about the fairness of the system? Making it fair, okay? making it where everybody could participate. But you see, we have to look at America for what it truly is. And it has never been a country that has allowed everybody to participate in voting processes, legal processes, judicial, and the whole gambit. But I'm going to tell you, increasing the burden of participation, whether through distance, confusion, or last-minute changes, it reduces engagement, particularly among the elderly, poor, and those without transportation, like I said before. But it also does something else. It makes citizens unwilling to vote. And that is the whole reason why they do it. You see, a lot of times access to participation becomes uneven. And you can see that in different communities. You see, the communities that are $100,000, I mean, they make over $100,000, okay? They have the money to do for themselves, but they also use their money to not spend money. What am I saying? Do you notice that rich people, athletes, entertainers, and everything else, people give them things, but they won't give a man that's homeless nothing. Simply, it's the voting process. If I don't allow you to vote, and only my constituents vote, then I get elected. And we call it fair. But I said, I don't want to say what I really want to say, but I was like, no. See, I know we're being censored now, and especially me. And the reason why I know this is because it takes so long for my videos to come out, and then sometimes, you know, how does a man get all of these community guidelines statements, and you reply to them, and you get no reply, but it takes an hour or two for your video to get there. You notice that your subscribers and your likes stay at the same thing, okay? Then all of a sudden you start having to sign or read different new updates to the guidelines, especially when the Chinese sold it to America. See, we think that because we're supposed to be in the same country, we're on the same side. But it was just like the military. We all supposed to be fighting the enemy, but my enemy was also the person right next to me. But you know, we're not supposed to say that. You see, we don't want to be real. But see, let me tell you something. Voting is not merely just a ritual affirmations of preference. It's the primary means by which populations impose limits on power without resorting to force. In democratic societies, voting is how change is supposed to happen. Not quickly, not perfectly, but it accumulates. And is a mechanism through which citizens signal consent, withdraw legitimacy, and recalibrate authority over time. We just don't have the power for making decisions for us like they have been lately. And that's because, you know, we can look at or listen to that song, The Cowards of the County, because silence doesn't do you any favors. I told you already that what will be will be. Even if you be silent and you go along with them, do you ever think that you're going to sit at their table? We have people of Latin descent, European descent, now all of a sudden crying because, you know, all of a sudden you feel like, oh, an African. Because what you thought was going to happen didn't happen. Wake up.